This is Jack. I'm going to be walking you through the gang territory script I've just released. We're starting with a blank QBCore server, and the first step to do is just drag in the folder that you would have extracted. If you open up your server folder, navigate to standalone or whatever folder is outside of the core. You can copy or drag this into that. Okay, that's up. We'll do a restart. And while that's restarting, let's open up Visual Studio Code or whatever code editor. Okay, so if you scroll up a bit, you'll find the section that says jack-gangterritory. We can see if it detected the resources and the framework correctly. So we've got the framework is selected as QB, which is correct. And then all of these other resources are set to auto detect, and if we look into that, we can see, okay, auto detect target, detect and set up QB target. So these are all working well. If you were to change your locale, the script is going to read from the OX config. So this file here, you could open this. I'm just going to open it in Notepad, and you can change this to whatever your language is, and the script is reading from this variable. That's why oxlib, oxMySQL are requirements. Okay, so now if you had renamed your core, let's say your core was actually named JackCore, but it should behave like QBCore, as in all the frameworks, all the events, and exports are all the same. It's only a rename. You can actually change the name of the resource it's looking for here. Now, if I were to ensure the script, you'll see we end up with a problem. It's telling us there's a critical error because it couldn't detect the framework. If you truly had a custom framework, you're going to have to go into all the places where framework is mentioned. Just as a quick sample, the bridge files are all open, so there's another handful in here. And as you can see, here's a section where it's mentioning framework, because it's getting the core object. Maybe you don't need that, but somewhere else it's mentioned is when you're opening the tablet. So that might be dependent on a framework, it might be dependent on our inventory resource. Another section could be getting the player source, getting player CID. These are framework dependent. So each place it's mentioning like custom here, you would want to write however this is done and return it the same format as the other ones are. So essentially every function here, like these three, these are fine. This would be another one, this another one, this another one. It's pretty easy to see them. They're going to mention frameworks a whole lot. So I'll go back and change this to QBCore. And I'm going to turn the config debug off. So this just allows me to see all the print statements and the zones. But I'm gonna leave it off. I don't need them. Okay, let's get the menu open. The first thing, let's look at the config. There's a specific one for gang menu, it's here. And this specifies whether we're going to use a command to open the menu or an item. You can, if you want the command to happen, you'd want to set this to true. And you'd want to set what the command is. Currently it's just gang. This is going to just replace the currently existing gang command in QBCore. But that's okay. The item, so I'm actually going to leave this as false because I want only the item to work, and the item name in my server is called tablet. That was already as is, so if I look at my inventory, I've got a tablet. If I hit use on it, which is just selecting it, I've got the first screen. So this is the screen the player sees when they open the tablet for the first time. They've not made a username before. So let's do that. Let's just call myself Jack. And I'm in. So to move around the map, I'm right clicking and dragging to pan, and I can use the mouse wheel to zoom. And if I click on a zone, I can see all of the information about it. We'll see more information later, but at least now we can see buildings which have a cost, and we'll look more into the buildings later. To start, let's actually look at the gang management. So I've allowed, as you can see with this config option, I've allowed users to create gangs because it's not only admins. So if I hit create a gang, I can name it, I can pick a color. Okay. Gang's created, and I'll invite another player into our gang as well. Our other player has not made a username yet, but if I were to try to send it to him, which he doesn't have a criminal account, I get this player not found. But then once he has a username, Dave, and I try it again, it now finds him. The time left on the invite is configurable. That was one of the options in the gang menu config right here. So if I wanted to make this maybe 6 hours, I would change the days to 1 and the hours to 6. But let's leave it as is. So this will count down, and this will actually stay here the whole time. Once he either accepts or declines the invite, it's gone, and we can also withdraw the invite by clicking delete. I'm actually going to have him accept the invite while we have the menu open. As you can see, it automatically updates. He now sees that he's in the gang, and now let's try editing some of these roles. So if I change his role to be able to maybe manage the funds and the stash, and I'll maybe change this to like recruit. So that can sync among everyone here. And now I'm going to have him deposit money into the funds here. And now we see that happen synced live as well. And they've got the transactions. We can withdraw the money. Let's withdraw, like, try to withdraw with 1,500. We don't have that much, so can't do that. We can create new roles. We'll call this like the underboss. We can rearrange this because that would actually be a higher rank thing. And we'll give this manage roles as well as everything else. Maybe manage buildings too. So now as the underboss, you can manage every role that's beneath yours, so recruit, but you can't manage other underbosses. You can also delete roles. Let's see what happens if we delete recruit, even though he has it. Oh, remember, still has it. Okay. But if we were to change him to underboss and then try to delete the recruit, works. Let's talk about earning respect in the zones. A couple ways we can earn respect. One of them is by doing graffiti. So I've got, for my script, it requires a spray can. This isn't the same URL as we saw in our gang management icon. You'd actually want to have these line up with those. So this is more like an admin kind of thing you need to change. So anyways, let's spray this. The script is also for sale. You can buy this in a bundle with the drug selling script I have, along with gang territory to get a full gang kind of bundle. Okay, we've just basically earned full control of Strawberry. We can see we've got this little icon here. This is the controller. So they are the gang who has basically the majority share control of a zone, and this unlocks the ability to purchase buildings within the zone. We can also see the zone total is only 2 respect, and this means we've earned 2 respect today. So if we wanted to specify, okay, you can't just do one thing in a zone and become the controller. You have to, let's say, hit 60 respect at least to become the controller. We can set that here. We can also change what percentage is required to be the controller. You know, you've already got the 60 respect, but there's other gangs in the zone, and so you end up with 55% control. You'll need to hit 60 to become the actual controller. And we're seeing that the zone is colored with our gang, but if I ensure, now that I have set the minimum requirement to be the controller to 60, if we reopen the zone, you can see we don't have the controller anymore, and we only have 3%, which is 2 over 60. So let's continue by spraying. We can spray more graffiti and earn more respect, but we can also do drug selling. So let's try that section of the script out. This is using the QBCore drug selling script, I believe. Yeah. Okay, we just earned a little bit of respect in the bottom right there. Okay, there's of course more ways to earn respect. As you can see, I've specified store robbery and bank robbery. Those can be set up with your scripts using the crime functions files. These are, of course, bridge files. And so I've set up these exports that you'd want to call specifically with, I believe, just source. Let's look for a place where they have assigned money, because that's usually a pretty secure spot to also assign this. What I'm going to do is just put it right here. Robbery. Let me just double check that that's, yep, correct spelling. And we're going to pass in source. You can also verify this by going to my documentation website. You can see, okay, yeah, it just needs source, and you can call it on the server. Okay, the next major way that you earn respect in this script is through missions. And I don't think we have any missions on the board. No. And we can take a look at how these are configured here, which is we can specify if you want missions to generate only on the restart or within a certain time frame. So I've set this to be every 6 hours. If you want to have this maybe just only every restart, how long is the restart? Is it 24 hours? If so, set it to 24 or maybe 25. Whatever you want that's available. You can specify how long they last, what their reward range is, and then here's how we can specify variables for missions, which we'll look into later. What I want to look into right now is just we need to create some missions, because until there are more gangs in the game with more respect, missions won't generate, because we want to have them generate to like force engagement. So we've got a question gang here with 140 control. The reason we're seeing the question marks is because we've got anonymized control leaderboard gangs. So this one is for this menu, this leaderboard, and then the anonymized leaderboard is for mission leaderboards. Okay, so we can also see in Upper Alta there's someone else. In this zone, again, 2 others. Let's actually turn that off, and we're going to ensure so that we can see some missions generating. Okay, yes, we got one. So we see this little circle with a 1, that means there's a mission, and the mission that generated is the beer drinkers public mission. So if we go to the config, there's this variable here which says you need to have at least 5% control in a zone to see public missions. You can make that 0 if you want any gang to be able to participate in any zone. Oh, I set the wrong one to false. Let's set that to false. Let's set this to true. So now we should see the question marks are gone once we restart. There we go. Okay. Let's accept this. And we're already in the zone, so it's actually going to appear right away. And the mission is, exactly as it says, drink the most beers. It's 5 hours. We've already got some beers on us, so if we use them, it'll start working. This is among all of your gang members, so it's really just get as many as you can, drink as many as you can. This is going to tie into either your inventory resource or your framework, like QBCore, create usable item. It's pretty easy with OX inventory. Other inventory systems you'll have to do the integration kind of manually. And then if I were to just add maybe the ballers are participating as well, just manually. Now if I ensure, we'll see them question marked out because we've specified that as well. Yeah, question marked at 2. And if we look into here, we'll see the same thing. Okay, now let's just accelerate the time to get this mission to complete. Let me open the map. You can see that the leaderboard is gone, it's not showing up because there is a reward available. We can also see this from our gang menu. It says reward available, and we can go into here and hit collect. That just bumped our respect up quite a bit. There's a couple other missions, and notably drag race, drug sales, pretty key missions. Let's just go ahead and create them. We can do that with the admin menu, so I've specified the command to be admin gang. You can change it there. And for missions, let's generate a mission. Let's do drag race. Let's do it in strawberry. We can go in and accept it. And once started, you'll see the leaderboard in the bottom right. We can also see the same leaderboard in the mission. And this one is for Carson Street. So if we zoom in, we can see Carson Street it's actually not on the map, but I think it's, oh, there it is, yeah, Carson Street. So it's kind of the long one cutting through multiple zones where it has the streetcar. So I think that's this one. So right now we just did some driving and didn't do anything because we're not actually on the street yet. But now we're on Carson, so our score will be counted. So if we try to get a top speed, so this is fully being synced and sending to everyone else. And at some point we're going to exit the zone so the leaderboard disappears. But if we drive back in, we'll still see our high score. So let's go back down and try to go even faster. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Let's see, what did we get? I think we got 192, so it's pretty tough to beat. Now that we have set the time forward, we can see that this mission is complete. We won, we were the highest score. We can collect the reward, and you can see it earned us quite a bit of respect. And looking around the map, I don't know if we don't see other missions because we don't even have 1 respect in any of the zones. Okay, so now that I've set the mission requirement to see public missions as 0, we can go in and we can see there's actually plenty more missions all around the map, just in zones that we don't currently control. But now that we set it to 0, we can go ahead and start this mission. So let's now go up to Hawick and participate in that one. And I think I've got a gun. And we will ensure. Reopen. Now obviously the leaderboard shows up, but the mission is complete. So if we were to try to shoot now, it's just gonna detect, oh, the mission is expired. We can collect our reward. We've been given control of the zone. And now if we go into here and accept that, if we look at it, it's asking us to sell a certain drug. So we'll actually have to get this item. This is, I think, part of the Lation drugs. I don't think I have it in my server. So I'm just going to change that to meth. Obviously, what you would want to do here is remove the options. So obviously, another way would just be, okay, well, if the only one you have is meth, then just remove the other options, like comment them out or literally remove them. And now, when we ensure, the mission is now actually asking for meth, which we have, so when we sell this, we're going to get a sale. Okay, perfect. There's a couple other missions that I haven't shown you yet. I mean, one I haven't talked about is the highest jump. It's pretty fun. And that's essentially it. Obviously, we can see the leaderboard. Everything is synced, and you can change if it's anonymized or not. The last mission, which is not a public type mission, it's actually a gang battle, is between the controller of a zone, so it's the person who has this crown, and then someone who has the second most control, but we've specified that must be over 25%. So I'm going to take Strawberry as an example and make the cartel have a little bit more respect in the zone to push them up to that contender role. Perfect. Yeah. So now they've got this is the contender icon, which means when there is a zone that has a controller and a contender, it is possible that a gang battle mission generates here. Of course, this happens when there's not already too many missions on the board, which there are, and I'm actually just going to delete them. That way, when we simulate a restart by ensuring, the script is going to prioritize generating a gang battle. Okay, there it is. This is only visible to me and the cartel. These are the contender and the contender and the controller. Now, if we accept this, it starts a 1-hour timer now that if the cartel doesn't accept, we will win by default. Now, let's have them accept it as well. Once this timer ticks down, like a King in the Hill type zone will be spawned. It's only visible for us, 2 gangs. Let's simulate that. So we can see there's a leaderboard now. As soon as we're in the zone, we'll see it. We can also see on the map, the zone is marked. And in the gang UI, the zone is also marked. It's the same icon here. We can see it's been started, and now we're going to want to go there. I think it's, there it is. So yeah, we can see this little marker, which signifies where the control point is. Once it's close enough to earn points, it'll turn red, and then you'll earn, I think, 1 point every 5 seconds or so. So this is one of the major ways that there's like combat in the script. And so if I'm here and then an enemy gang member comes to the zone, neither of us will earn points until someone is dead or someone has more of the gang members in the zone. So like currently I've got 1. If someone else from the other gang came in, it would be 1-to-1. We'd neither of us earn points. But if I had someone on my team reinforce me, come and join me in the zone, even if we're all still alive, because I have 2 and they have 1, our gang would earn points. And again, you don't count for that total if you're dead. Anyways, this is going to tick down, and when it does, it'll move. We'll see a new zone and a new zone in here as well. But the last part of the script, which I'll show as this is happening, is buildings. So as soon as we become the controller of a zone, where we can see it as red, buildings can now be purchased. So like for Little Soul, for example, I can't purchase this because I don't control the zone. But into here, Strawberry, this scrapyard I can now purchase. And the really important thing is that these things can earn your gang an income every restart. And the risky part of owning them is that if you lose control of the zone, you no longer earn the income, but you have to only pay the maintenance. So it can bleed you dry if you're not quick to retake the zone. So it's a really good, like, I'm going to hold this zone and this is going to be my main one, so I'm going to buy the buildings in it. Kind of like a monopoly. Anyway, let's try to buy this. Obviously, we can't because it's 400,000. So let's add some money to our funds here. I don't know how much cash I have. Perfect. So now if we purchase this, we can see the icon turns red. Everyone will see that it's owned by our gang. And we can also sell it in the case where we're being pressured and it's bleeding us dry. It's a discounted selling price, but you can sell it. But the nice thing about this is while you own it, you're actually going to earn an income and pay the cost. But this isn't 30,000 net. The thing about this is that if we lost control of Strawberry, we won't be able to collect the income anymore. So let's see if we went to here, let me refresh. So now we've lost control of Strawberry and Cartel controls it. Now, if we ensure simulating a restart, and we open this, so now we take a look. Actually, we still have enough money to pay for the cost, but we have only incurred the cost. We haven't earned the income. If I withdraw everything, 117,980. Now we've got no money in here. If we simulate a restart and we open it back up, we'll see a warning saying there's an outstanding amount here. And again, we don't see that the cost occurred because we actually were unable to pay it. Now, if we add some money to our funds, we'll need to be able to cover the next maintenance plus the outstanding balance. So it's best to add here almost 20,000 just to cover this, as in case this is hitting the max. But if we fail to have enough money to pay this on the next restart, it's going to force the sale of it. So let's take a look at that. So now we've got 300,000, but it's bad because we've lost this property. Okay. The last thing was the admin menu. Obviously, we've taken a look at it briefly when looking at creating missions. I'll also just display, you can also manage the gangs here. We can delete the gang. We can create a gang. We can also edit the zones. And this is a really important part. So the neighborhoods config shows all of these points, and these are in-game points and the specific names of the zones as well. And we can edit the points in a really nice way by opening up this in UI editor. And so maybe we want to kind of like connect these up a bit more. Whatever you want to do, that might be useful. Or we can connect this and maybe what's this one connected to? Maybe we don't need this. We can delete that one. And what's this one? This one maybe connect it to that. Maybe we don't even want this entire Vinewood Hills. So we'd say, where is it? Vinewood Hills. Delete it. Maybe we don't want Maze Bank Arena. So we can delete that. Maybe I decide that I want to make a zone just for this quarry. or maybe this is a good one, the airstrip. So if I click, add a point, click, add a point, click, add a point, you need at least 4, and then I specify, I call it airstrip, create a zone. Looks like it didn't, maybe it has the points out of order, yeah. So just want to kind of make sure that it looks right. That looks good to me. So now, if I want to copy these all, I would actually just hit escape and go back to the admin gang, zones, and hit copy zones from map. And this is going to teleport me to all of those points, but in the game world, and grab the Z coordinate of the ground. The caveat here is that if you make a zone too deep in the water, the 5M doesn't allow you to grab the ground coordinate there, it'll break. And so your character will just go straight down, trying to find the ground, and then never find it, and the whole processor is gonna break. So if you see that, that's something to say, check that you're not too far in the ocean. So once this completes, it takes some time. It's copying to my clipboard. So if I was to paste my clipboard right now, we're seeing some of the zones partially here. But that's everything. So I guess the other thing we didn't talk about is setting the stash or garage. To set the stash or the garage, you can either use a command or the in-game menu. Tablet, hit the cog, and you can change the current locations of the gang garage and gang stash. A side note, you can also change the profile icon here. One thing to note about QB Garage is you'll get a warning message about it, that you need to actually make that gang garage in the config manually. So that would bring us to this. It's using your inventory system, and it's using either a target resource or a 3D text to do the stash. If I wanted to change the stash, I could go in and set the current position, and it'll already update the location as well. So we can also set it with a command, and that command is located in the gang menu config.